Then somebody else went into the estimate at the insurance company and reduced it. They took out the clean and detail car. I guess they don't need that. And flushed the fluids. And they cut the amount of time for removing the paint in half to create a supplement of negative $460. So they reduced the insured settlement before the car even got anywhere. Don't take the answer no on something this serious. Get with people that are going to advocate on your behalf and work hard to get you made whole.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Airing of Grievances. My name is Eric Reamer and that's the man, Robert Grieve. Always happy to have you along with us, and if it's Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. here in the Mountain Standard Time, then you can chat with us live using the YouTube chat feature. If you've never done that before, join us. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
If you're watching us a little bit later, that's all right. We can still be friends, and we love that you're here. If you haven't yet clicked the subscribe button, now's a good time. And while you're at it, there's another button that we'd love for you to click, and that's the thumbs up button. That tells YouTube that this is content worth sharing. And I think after listening to this episode, you're going to want to share this because there are some
people don't know about it.
Yeah, there's some serious ramifications, and a lot of people don't know what we're about to share with you. So, Rob, I say happy Saturday to you.
Happy Saturday to you. And my dear friends, thanks for tuning in. Please leave comments. A lot of people get educated by, what we're talking about here, but they further get educated by you making comments and leaving comments in there.
Absolutely.
So we appreciate that very, very much. And the people that watch the videos later that can read the comments appreciate it as well.
So this week's story is not a new story. However, if you stick with us all the way to the end, you're going to find that there's some new content that we're going to add to it. But this has to do with a vehicle that was stolen and then recovered. And what next? Well, if you've seen any of our previous videos on this kind of a topic, or you've read our blog at nylundscollision.com, and all those links will be in the comments or in the description box below, I think that you probably know that one of the next steps, or the very next step after a car's been recovered, is to order a drug test of that car. Now, when I first heard drug testing a car, I had no idea what that was all about. But through the process, and this now being multiple times we've had this conversation, we've learned a lot about the very, very dangerous nature of chemicals, drugs, street drugs that can be transferred if somebody were to get into a car that has not been cleared. So with that being the case, Rob, I'm going to turn it over to you to share the story of the vehicle that we're talking about and the people involved.
Yeah, there's a lot of arms and legs to this story.
Yeah.
But everybody should know we have a very strict process when a vehicle arrives as a theft and recovery here.
Okay.
And the process has evolved over the years. We were never this way. We didn't know until we did one. And so every car is marked do not enter. No, not one of our employees is allowed in the vehicle until the car has been drug tested and cleared.
Okay.
Rarely is it cleared.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Rarely is it cleared. There's a lot of... most states have laws on levels of contamination.
Sure.
What we're finding most is meth usage and residue inside. And depending on that level after it's tested, will determine if there is the potential for remediation or not. And if it's over a level, then it's just there is no remediation.
Really?
If they find fentanyl in the car, there is no standard for that, and the car should be crushed. So it's very, very serious stuff. And when we talk about fentanyl, we're talking about 2 grains of salt. The size of 2 grains of salt can seriously make you sick.
Yes.
If you're not a user of it. I don't know how it doesn't make the user.
Well,
but
yeah, we're
I don't know how, I don't understand how that works. I'm not. I never did drugs in my life,
Yeah.
honest to God, and I don't know that much about these things.
Sure.
I know they're dangerous,
That's right.
and I know that I am not going to subject my employees to it, and most important, I'm not going to subject a consumer to it.
Right.
And the smaller your lungs, the more dangerous it is. Meaning, children, infants, so on and so forth.
They run a greater risk.
They run a greater risk.
Yeah.
So if it could be remediated, which is a 50-50 at best, then it would have to be drug tested again to verify that it was
Cleared. Got it.
So it's we take it very seriously.
Sure.
And so we had this young family contact us. They had a 17 Hyundai that was stolen. They actually painted the inside of the windows black.
The people who stole.
The people that stole it painted the insides of the windows black. And, I guess, I'm sure they don't want to be seen or identified, but who knows what else was going on inside the car
Yeah.
during that time that they had it. And this family, it was very important to them. They're young. They have 2 kids. One's an infant, and one's a little older. The one that's a little older's got some breathing issues of some nature. They didn't want their kids subjected. They didn't want them in this car until they knew that they weren't going to get hurt.
Right.
Fair enough.
Of course.
We're the people for you. So they bring it in, and their insurance company said, yeah, no.
Know what?
No, we're not going to pay for a drug test. First one on the lot that I've ever had, the insurance company denied paying for the drug test. Now, they did say if the consumer wants to pay for the drug test, then they can pay for the drug test and we'll reimburse them if there's stuff found.
Interesting.
And so I went to work.
All right. Well, share with us what that process is.
This is going on now over a month. So these people haven't had their car. And we weren't getting any great responses from the insurance company. So I went to Twitter, X, if you will,
X.
and private messaged the insurance company, not out in the open. I just said, we have this situation, and I'm really shocked that you're approaching it in this way. We've never had anybody else do it. I actually showed a picture of the family
Okay.
that was potentially going to be affected by this, their policyholder.
Yep.
And they said, oh, okay. And they got a hold of the uppers in the insurance company and said they'll get a hold of you with a decision.
Okay.
Well, we kept following up week after week. Do you have a decision? Do you have a decision? Do you have a decision? Meanwhile, the car's just sitting there, and these folks don't have transportation. And they came back, and they gave us the decision.
No.
We're still not going to do it.
Yeah.
Not unless the guest pays for it first, and then if they find illicit drugs, and they said it that way, then we'll pay for the drug test. So, that did not sit well with me.
I can't imagine. I mean, it just seems like it's so backwards.
Yeah, and by the way, one of the last lines in the email is, our insured safety is paramount to us. And I'm thinking to myself, good to know. Not sure I agree with that.
I disagree with it wholeheartedly.
And then I re-private messaged them saying, this is the latest information. Are you sure this is the position you want to take on this car? and I got crickets.
Really?
Yes. So I decided to give it a gentle nudge on LinkedIn.
A little social media nudge?
Yeah. Well, not just social media. I went to LinkedIn for a reason.
Oh.
And that's, LinkedIn is different than Facebook and all these other places.
Sure.
Every one of them's got their own little character trait,
Yeah.
whether it's pictures or whatever the case may be.
LinkedIn is where the C-suite hangs out, the upper management.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where the people in charge of all these companies live.
Yep.
And thanks to all the people that are connected to me on LinkedIn, it got quite a bit of traffic.
Okay.
And there was like a 7% of the views were insurance industry. And in the end, they decided that they would change their mind and cut them a check and sent them a check for it. Or it's underway.
At least that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully maybe they'll rethink the whole thing. We don't have the results back, so we don't know yet.
Sure. But Rob, let me ask you this. If this Nylund's Collision Center were, and we are not, a DRP in a direct repair partnership program with this insurer, would we even be having this conversation?
Not a chance.
No way, right?
Not a chance.
Because we would have to do what the insurer dictated.
Yep.
And so this is why we say...
Generally speaking, that wouldn't even be on the radar from anybody.
Very few people even follow this line of conversation. They just do what they do.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it works out all right. And the great majority of times we find that there are toxic levels of these illicit drugs that sometimes require the car to be completely totaled.
Yes.
So...
Actually, more often than not.
Yeah.
Which is why we've taken the stance on it that we've taken. It's just... Why put anybody in danger? I mean... The poor police officers that get in these vehicles and the tow truck drivers and all the rest of that, it's they're all in danger, and it breaks my heart. But here's how you know that you're going to have a hard time. I got a copy of the estimate that the insurance company wrote, and they paid to remove the paint from the windows. 2 hours, so that's $120, $130, call it whatever.
Okay.
They also paid to clean and detail the car, and they also paid to flush all the fluids. It's a good start.
All right.
So whoever wrote the estimate had all that stuff on there.
Yeah.
Then somebody else went into the estimate at the insurance company and reduced it. They took out the clean and detail car. I guess they don't need that. And flushed the fluids. And they cut the amount of time for removing the paint in half to create a supplement of negative $460. So they reduced the insured settlement before the car even got anywhere.
And they say that the insured safety is their primary concern?
So not only did they say no to the drug test, but no, we're not even going to clean your car now.
Wow.
Not that that would make a hill of beans with some of these drugs. It has to be, if the thing is going to be remediated, it has to be remediated by people that are licensed and trained to do that remediation.
Yes.
With the right chemicals and all the rest of that. The guy that comes out to do the hygienist, industrial hygienist that comes out and does the testing, I'm going to show a couple pictures in a second.
Yeah.
He gets all suited up and gloves wrapped, tape around it so he's sealed.
It's a complete
mask.
hazmat suit.
Yeah, it's a whole hazmat suit before he gets in the vehicle to start taking these samples. And it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. And there's this thing called chain of custody.
Yes.
So he's got these squares, and he puts these squares in certain places, and that square is exactly 100 millimeters square or encompasses 100 millimeters. And he takes and swabs that whole 100 millimeters, understands where that sample was taken from because he has to map it out in his report.
Yes.
And those swabs from that go in this container. It gets labeled along with this and goes on the map of where he took them from. Now he moves on to the next place and the next place and the next place. And they're also doing 2 tests for fentanyl. So most of it is for meth, but they do 2 tests for fentanyl as well. So all these little tubes are labeled, matching a map of where they were taking.
Yes.
And then all this goes to the lab. Lab comes back with the results in the different places. And that's how we get the drug test done.
Okay.
And it's going to be, if it's fentanyl, it doesn't matter. The car's going in the trash. If it's meth, there is a level of which it can be remediated, but then has to be retested to make sure. And if it's over that thing, it goes in the garbage as well.
Okay.
But these are all important things, and don't take the answer no on something this serious. Get with people that are going to advocate on your behalf and work hard to get you made whole and to keep you safe. It's a dangerous thing, and it's kind of what I got. I'm glad that we were able to get this test done.
Yeah.
We did have some guests here that had an interest in seeing the process that may or may not have been from a government agency or something. That were very, very interested in the hows and the whys, and and they could not believe the process that we had. And by the way, all this information, once the report is done, goes back to the police department and gets attached to that police report.
Sure.
And I mean, there's so many different steps to this thing.
Yeah. It's not
just to make sure that people are safe.
It's not just what you would imagine. Your car is stolen, you get it back, and you start driving it again. It doesn't work that way, and shouldn't work that way.
It shouldn't work that way because 90% of the vehicles that we have that are theft and recoveries get crushed.
Yeah. Well, Rob, this is an important topic, and once again, I will direct you to the links below so that you can see the other videos that we have made on this topic, as well as the blog post that we've written on nylundscollision.com. Rob, thank you for bringing this.
You're welcome. Do not accept no. There is many ways in these cases to get somebody to do the right thing. It's shameful that you have to go through this, especially with somebody that you've been paying and trusting to be there when you need them.
Right.
And when you need them, they're not. Get somebody that's going to advocate for you, and there's plenty of help out there. And if you need some, you let me know.
There you go. Rob, happy Saturday to you.
Happy Saturday to you. My dear friends, thanks for tuning in. Have an amazing week. God bless.